Welcome to another episode of Up for Discussion. Today,
That might be the worst yet.
I thought it was kind of funky, right?
Mm.
Um, as you know, I'm Samuel.
I'm Matt.
This is Up for Discussion, the superhero hub. Today, what are we gonna be discussing?
The Infinity Stones.
Nice. I think that's a good topic, right? So this is it's gonna be a kind of biography as well as being an informational video. So basically, what we're going to start out with is where each of them are popped up, where the last one is possibly going to pop up, what each of them do, and then we'll go on from there. So the first one, which I do believe is a space stone, that's popped up here. That's a tesseract for people who don't know. Now, in the comic books, generally each of them are like oval, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, most of them have been kind of redistributed in terms of like style and appearance. So the tesseract is obviously the cosmic cube as opposed to a stone, and that popped up first in. I do believe that first popped up in Captain America, the first one, and kind of so far none of them have really been used to their full potential. You know what I mean? They've popped up, but you haven't actually seen what they do. The only instance of that being used was when the Red Skull had it at the end, and then it blasted him off into space somewhere, which I think was good because I think most people just thought he kind of got vaporized, whereas obviously the heavens opened, you saw celestial bodies, and then obviously we was zapped up. So I think in terms of whether he's going to pop up again, I think that's extremely likely. What do you think?
Yeah, what, the Red Skull coming back?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. There are there were rumours, and I'll say rumours. I think he came out in an interview and said it, so it's not much of a rumour. Hugo Weaving, who played the Red Skull, wasn't particularly interested in coming back to the role, but you can recast. It's not that difficult, and I think people, at least initially, were waiting for the Red Skull to come back. There was a rumor going around, a fan theory, that people thought Robert Redford would be the Red Skull and the Winter Soldier, and at one point he was going to rip the face off, and because the Red Skull traditionally is in charge of Hydra, or is that Baron Zemo?
Baron Zemo.
Yeah. Well, who cares? It's one of them, but. The idea is the Red Skull is probably off out in space somewhere, and yeah, will probably come back in one of the two Avengers movies coming up.
See, I figure if he's going to pop up anywhere, I figure he'd pop up in Thor Ragnarok. Because think about it. I mean, well, it depends where he kind of actually is. You know what I mean? Because how easy to get will prosthetics be wherever he is? Because he's going to have to fashion himself a mask somehow out of some sort of material. And
Why do you need a mask?
well, okay, is he just going to walk around with like his exposed face?
Well, if he's in space, yeah, why not?
I guess so, but I think more likely if he's going to pop up anywhere, I'd say Thor Ragnarok. You know what I
I,
mean?
I, I don't know. Maybe if he's in for Ragnarok, it might be as a cameo, or like an after credits thing to set him up. I just think eventually you're going to get back to Captain America. He is Captain America's lead villain. You don't want Red Skull about Cap.
I think where else he could pop up as well, because Thanos is looking for the stones. How much does he actually know where the stones are? I mean, say Thanos is doing whatever he's doing, then all of a sudden a flash appears and it turns out to be him, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he was like, "Oh, I was pissing about with this cube, and then I got zapped here." And it's like it could be like as a consultant to Thanos, as in, look, this is where one of the stones are. Is definitely on Earth, but the problem is it's been moved now, hasn't it? I
Yeah,
mean, the last appearance I think it was at the end of Avengers, and it was in the Asgard Royal Vault. Now the thing with that, the issue with that is, if that's in the Asgardian Vault, where does Thanos get the Infinity Gauntlet from in the after credits of Age of Ultron? Because you see him, he puts on the glove and is like, I'm going to have to find him myself. Now, people speculated that that was the Asgardian Royal Vault. So if that, then surely has already got access to the Tesseract.
Maybe it may be that he goes to Asgard and because if Thor in Ragnarok, if Thor's on Earth, Loki is on the throne,
Yeah.
Odin's gone, then essentially Asgard is unprotected. You know, you got the three there, but they're not going to fight Thanos. So maybe he just invades, takes what he wants, and leaves.
Do you think that's going to be mentioned in Thor Ragnarok? Do you think that's going to be the prelude or like at the end of it? Because I think at the moment with him putting the Infinity Gauntlet in, if that is Asgard, then it kind of messes up the timeline a bit. Does he go there, steal it on the slide, but then he's gonna, if he is actually in Asgard, he's gonna have to steal the Tesseract as well. Now is Thor gonna notice that, or is he gonna be waylaid by whatever happens in Ragnarok?
I think he'll be distracted by Ragnarok. Ragnarok being the end of all things, right? I believe.
Yeah, in Norse mythology.
Yeah, so maybe all hell breaks loose. Thanos slips in, takes what he wants, and leaves. I think because Hera, Kate Blanchett's in the movie is Hera, right? Who is essentially Hades.
Yeah.
Thanos is obsessed with death. That signals a partnership to me.
So do you think Thanos is going to pop up physically?
Probably.
I think that would be pretty good because I mean, in terms, I think everything's got to start leading up to Infinity Wars now. So for him to pop up in that, I think it'll be after credits. So
Yeah, probably he'll show up. Maybe meet up with Hera in the underworld.
right, so the second stone, I do believe, is I'm going to say it's the ether. I mean, it might chronologically in terms of the movies that might not be accurate, but
You got to help me out here. Which one is it?
we'll just that is in the second Thor film, and that is the kind of liquid. Do you know like what Malekith was after the Dark Elf? It was like that red liquidy thing, the ether, and it was all spinning around. Well, that turns out that's like an Infinity Stone as well, but obviously it's in liquid form. And the last time that popped up, I think the last time we saw that was that gets taken off to the collector at the end. That's the after credit scene for that.
You know, I remember liking that movie, but I cannot remember it at all, really.
I think I've seen it about twice. It was on during the Christmas season last year. No, was it last year? I think Easter. I think it was pretty recent. So that's when, because I thought I'd watch it just for the sake of watching it.
I remember Thor being in like London at some point. I think London got destroyed as it normally does in these movies, but
Yeah,
I don't remember much of it.
I think that
So
was,
so that's an Infinity Stone.
yeah, but
Okay.
it's in liquid form because obviously it um, possessed Jane Foster, and then it got dragged from her. It got taken out of her and then pretty much captured because I think Malekith possessed it, started using a bit of its power, and then it ends up getting taken out of him and then just plopped up in a little box and taken to the collector. So, and then that was kind of the first kind of allusion to there's kind of more than one because in the after credit sequence he has it and there's like one down, five to go.
It's like
So
a waste of a villain. Wasn't that like the Ninth Doctor? What's his name?
nah.
It
Oh,
was, wasn't
oh,
it?
I know what you mean, Malekith.
Yeah,
Yeah, Christopher Eccleston.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like Thor's things, it's just people from like the different realms. So, I mean, you had the frost giants and the dark elves. So, I mean, they're not
Yeah,
really
but
that well known anyway.
Loki was the villain of the movie, though, wasn't he?
Mm,
The first one, the frost giants are just kind of there
plot
as
device.
yeah.
So,
Okay, so what's the third one?
the third one is, if I do recall, I'm going to say the Mind Stone, because that was in.
At Loki's staff or
Yeah,
separate thing? Okay.
Yeah, because obviously you see a bit of it in, you see its power. I mean, it wasn't actually recognized as a Infinity Stone until later on, but I mean, it's probably one of, apart from the Tesseract, probably chronologically one of the earliest things. You just didn't know what it was. You just figured, ah, his staff. Just see what's funny is because he gets gifted that from Thanos. Because remember the little aliens in Avengers, the Chitauri, they were like, "Oh, he gave you this power, he gave you this scepter," and it's like, why would does Thanos not know that there's an Infinity Stone in the scepter, and why would he just willingly give it away?
Maybe, I mean, I agree. It seems weird, but maybe it's that's part of his thing, saying, I'll just have to do it myself. But he's building these things out where people go do what he wants, destroy what he wants, and get what he wants. But if they fail, he thinks, okay, I'm going to get back what I gave and go do it myself. But yeah, it seems odd.
Yeah, I mean that's very brave to give up something like that just to some guy, because how much interaction could they actually have? Because you never actually see Thanos talk to him. You just see the Chitauri work as kind of the middlemen, as it were. So I mean, has Loki actually sat down and had a conversation with him? Because that's a lot of trust to just put into some stranger, in a
Yep.
sense.
Or maybe he's a trusting guy. We don't know yet.
I don't think if I was him, I never would. I mean, just hold on to it. You know what I mean? Because anything could happen. I mean, let's be smart. Why not just hold on to it and give him like the Chitari? Because he could have done that anyway. But I think in terms of, I think that'd be because you could say that it's just a plot device and to open the portal to the other world to let the Chitari invade. You know,
Yeah.
you had to use the scepter. I know the scepter was used to kind of knock the portal off, but is that kind of like an advanced thing to actually open the portal in the first place? But I think that was a bit dumb. So I mean, yeah, it can be used to control people, but also what they used it for is to give power to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, which I thought was
Mm.
a bit confusing how it actually does that. You know what I mean? It's a mind stone. I mean, you could use you could vary it off and just be like, oh yeah, we use the power stone to give them, well, powers is like a lesser known ability, but the mind stone, you know what
So
I mean?
that's how they got their powers.
Yeah, experimentation with the scepter.
So are they? I was under the impression that in the movie version of their origin, they're Inhumans. So if that's how they got the powers instead, have you seen any of Agents of Shield?
No,
I haven't either because I know the Inhumans are there. So I'm just wondering if like the Terrigen Mist or whatever it's called, if that is in the MCU or not.
not that I've noticed, because the kind of only instance you really see is like Baron von Strucker at the end of Winter Soldier. You got them in in their little castle or whatever. They're using their abilities, and it says, "Oh, the Age of Miracles are here." So whatever experimentation he was doing to actually give them their powers, but apparently it directly comes from the Mind Stone. Because I think Scarlet Witch mentions it again in like Civil War. She says because the Vision's talking about the Mind Stone, and like she says that it gave them their power, the twins their power. So I mean, does it alter their
Okay.
frame of mind that much that it gives them powers? That's the only thing I can think of. You know what I mean? It
Well,
convinces them they've got powers, and they
it'd
do.
be interesting to see with the Inhumans TV show that's upcoming.
Isn't that meant to be a movie as well?
No, I think the movie's been shelved in favour of a TV show, which the first few episodes are going to be shown in the cinema. I think.
See, for that, is like, are they actually going to bring any of them characters into the film?
I believe it's Black Bolt and Medusa and
Mm.
Crystal and the dog and all them.
I find that. I know it could work, but it's like, why not put them in a film by a TV show? That kind of shows me they're not that confident. But I mean, if it's a good enough idea, yeah, are they really going to transition from a TV show into a film? Is like
No,
it could
it's going
just.
to be a TV show, isn't it? I think.
Mm, I mean, so the Mind Stone as well. It also obviously gave Vision his power, kind of created him, which I think, and that was kind of where the kind of cat was let out the bag, where it was actually Thor comes back and speaks that they are actually Infinity Stones. So I mean, it is pretty confident as well. They're the most powerful items in the universe, but is willing to just let create, because he was directly responsible in the creation of Vision. So I mean,
It's
he's pretty,
four,
yeah, because
was it?
he jumped on the chrysalis and kind of give it electricity so it overcharged, because all the other Avengers kind of ganged up against Tony Stark, cut the power,
Rightly so, by the way.
yeah, cut the power and was like, nah, this isn't happening. Then Thor just comes out of nowhere, lightning bolts, overcharges the cradle, and then boom, he exists. So I mean, and then he gives a speech about this stone's the most powerful in the universe, but I'm just gonna swoop down, not really know what's going on, charge the cradle, create Vision, not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, it's
So
weird
I
'cause
think,
I love Thor in the Avengers movies. I think he came into his own, especially with the comedy.
mhm,
But his role in that movie is confusing because at one point, there's that bit where he goes into that bath or whatever it is,
yeah.
and then you think, what the hell was that?
I think that was like a magic spring or something, like one of the water gods, and it gives him like power of foresight or something. But it gives him like precognitive visions,
There
so
has
it
to have been a
allows him.
cutscene. There must be a cutscene there
Nah,
explaining what the
you
hell was that.
you see him go into the water, get electrocuted, then all of a sudden is like getting visions of like all the Infinity Stones, and then the Earth getting torn apart. But he's
Mhm.
still willing to let just some random person no one's ever met like use the Mind Stone.
Yeah, not even a person.
So I mean, that's what I mean. See, people are pretty stupid with these stones, you know.
The
Maybe that's
mind, so the mind gem is in the Vision.
yeah,
Do you buy into this theory that went round that I get minor spoiler alert for Civil War in case you haven't seen it. He's the one that shoots down
yeah,
War
yeah,
Machine.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
buy into the theory at all that he was controlled and made to do it?
But what would be the point?
Exactly. I don't buy it either.
There's no,
But it's a theory out there. But I think if you were going to do that, then you'd actually have had the balls to kill
yeah.
Rhodey and make it a real dramatic dilemma. I don't.
But even then, like, it would have made no sense, because I think Captain America still would have made up with Iron Man, because it wasn't really. It was like pissed off for a while, but like I think they've pretty much resolved their issues now.
Exactly. And why would
After
you
he got a
stop a War
letter.
Machine? What if you got the control of the Vision? You're not just going to shoot down War Machine, are you? You're going to take out everyone.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's that. I mean, it's speculated that's got the power to like, just because they say in Age of Ultron, they're like, oh, you can't let that stone like fall into the wrong hands or whatever, or touch the earth because it will destroy it. Like with the Power Stone, which will kind of transition to
Was that
now.
Guardians?
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, the purple one, which
Okay.
was. See, that was where that was a good one as well, because when they're with the collector actually says what this one does. I think that was like the first, actual proper introduction of the Infinity Stones, because it talks about the Celestials, the kind of double-edged sword of what they are. You know what I mean? Because they're created by the Celestials, and obviously all six of them were joined together by the six different elders or whatever. But even then, like, the stones became too powerful and they couldn't control them, and they were vaporized. So then you got the dirty great, like, Titan celestial beings that like went around using them. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see why, like, where where does the Infinity Gauntlet come from? Because I mean, they wielded the stones without the gauntlet, and eventually they were destroyed. So what makes the gauntlet so special that like not only can you control one of the stones, but you can control all six of them together and still be fine?
I don't know. I wonder if that will be a plot point or they're just going to gloss over it. Was the Infinity Gauntlet crafted by someone to enable them to have the power to control them. Because I read the Thanos Infinity War storyline, wherever it was in the comics from back in the day, but I don't remember if there was a specific origin for the Gauntlet itself.
Exactly.
If the Celestials crafted it, because if you don't know the comics, the Celestials are basically, as you see in the Guardians, this ancient alien race that were very powerful and had lots of technology. They're the ones that created the technology the Apocalypse uses from the X-Men, even though obviously the Fox don't have the rights to that, so it's not in the movie. But the Gauntlet itself, I don't know. And you were like you brought up earlier, there have been points where they've put Easter eggs in these movies, especially in the earlier movies, where they've kind of glossed over it a little, like with Captain America's shield being a place it probably shouldn't have been at one point, and the Gauntlet being in Asgard. I think I could be wrong, but I think if they had their way now, they never would have done that
Oh
because
yeah.
it's just, yeah. Because now it just erases the question of where did Thanos get the Gauntlet and when did he get it?
Yeah. Exactly. Another thing is, like with the collector, like what's he doing? Like getting back to another Power Stone now, because obviously there was like a big kind of the point of like Guardians of the Galaxy was like about three different people wanted this stone. I take it all of them knew what it was, whether they knew it was just powerful or whether they knew it was an infinity gem. Because the collector definitely knows it's an infinity gem. I don't think Ronan really knew like the repercussions of having it. You know what I mean? I think he just got it, thought, right, this is really powerful. It's going to allow me to do what I need to do. But I don't think he actually knew the kind of greater purpose for Thanos wanting it. Obviously, Thanos knows it's an infinity gem. So I mean, what's the collector trying to do? Because he's got the red one, he's got the ether even, he's got, and then he was in possession of the power stone before it blew up, and obviously now that's in the Nova Core vault. But was he trying to get them all together for some purpose? And does he work for Thanos? Was he trying to get them to give to him to kind of bat a favor or something? Because I mean, what is the collector going to get all the stones, get the Infinity Gauntlet, and then do his thing? I mean,
Nah.
I think that was a bit silly. So I don't really know the purpose of what he wanted them for. Obviously, you could put, oh yeah, he's a collector who just wants them for the sake of having it. But it's like, come on, if you've got that, obviously you're gonna want to use it. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I think, is he going to be in Guardians too?
I don't know.
It's got to pop up somewhere. Maybe it'll be in Ragnarok. But I'm not sure they'll ever explain that. I
No,
think it's just one of those things that's going to kind of gloss over.
yeah.
Even
It
though it
just,
seems odd though, you cast Benicio del Toro, you think you've got a bigger role for him, but
mm. Right. So where's the next one? How much have we covered so far? One, two, three, four. Well, the next one's obviously the Time Stone from a Doctor Strange.
the eye.
Yeah, Eye of Agamotto, which I think was pretty cool. I like the way that worked. See, because generally you just see a bit of what they do. Like sometimes you see none of really what the Infinity Gems do. But I think that was kind of the Eye of Agamotto, the Time Stone, was actually like a main plot device of the actual film, you know what I mean? Because obviously he used its power to kind of use an infinite time loop, and obviously that was kind of the main thing. Because normally, like in most of the films, you just have a fight, and then the villain gets defeated. But in that, he kind of wasn't really defeated. It was kind of just like sent away. Because obviously Doctor Strange was like, if you want me to break the time loop, you have to leave, or we'll just get stuck in this kind of infinite loop of like over and over again time. So I thought that was a pretty good use for it. You get to actually see what it can do properly. I mean, make time loops like anything to do with time. Because normally it's like, oh, it's a power stone. You can use it to kind of blow up planets or whatever. But like, you're not really told what else it can actually do. Whereas the time stone, it was like a pretty accurate kind of portrayal of what it actually does.
Yeah, in the later movies, unlike with the the Tesseract,
Mhm.
where they didn't really define what it does, which in the comics basically it does anything you want.
Yeah. The Power Stone is literally, we'll run through like the Power Stone. Literally, I think it empowers people. It can destroy stuff, and like infinitely. The Space Stone allows you to be like anywhere in space. It allows you to teleport, and like its kind of ultimate power, if you will, is like it allows you to kind of split yourself up to the point of omnipotence, where it's like, like we have the idea of like God who's everywhere at all times looking over us. That's basically what the Space Stone allows you to do. It lets you kind of become omnipotent to the point where not only you're in one piece of space at a time, you inhabit all of space at one time, which I think is pretty decent. You know what I mean? Then I mean the Time Stone gives you complete control over
Of
time,
time.
ever to the point of like you take yourself into like your own kind. You don't age. You know what I mean? You put yourself in like, I don't really know how to explain it, but
You have so much control over time. It's like you're outside it.
yeah,
Like time doesn't define you. You define time. The mind stone is pretty obvious. You can control the minds of others. And I think is that all of them?
um, well, there's a Reality Stone.
Have we seen that yet?
I think the Reality Stone. I think that's what I think that's what the ether was, because the last stone that hasn't really been found yet, that's the soul gem, and that's closely kind of connected to Adam Warlock. Now, Adam Warlock's obviously the kind of guy that you're going to expect to pop up in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, because he has ties to Ego the Living Planet. So I think, in terms of speculation, I mean, obviously we've covered all the stones that have popped up. So to go on to the last one, the one that hasn't popped up, it would have to either turn up in Black Panther or Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Now, apparently there's speculation that it was going to turn up in Black Panther, because I mean, really, they haven't really like directly followed the comic books. So I mean, it could turn up anywhere. I mean, obviously it has a close association with Adam Warlock and Ego the Living Planet, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
relatively it could pop up anyway. You know what I mean? I mean, there
Yeah.
could be backstory to it, that maybe at one point it was in possession of this person, but it ends up, I don't know, in a mine somewhere in wherever the Black Panther is. I forget.
Wakanda.
Yeah, that was it. I forgot the name. So, I mean, odds. I mean, it could turn up in Thor Ragnarok as well. I
Maybe.
mean,
Well, because I think Thor Ragnarok is probably going to be a pretty important movie when it comes to the Infinity Stones, because it's going to be Doctor Strange is going to be in it.
yeah,
Right, that's the eye. That's one of them there. And then Asgard has got what? It's got the cosmic bloody hell Tesseract. I'm getting it
yeah.
right on that. And is there another one there as well?
I don't think so. No, I think the
Okay.
Power Stone's in the Nova Core vault, and the Ether is, for all intents and purposes, still with the Collector.
Hmm.
How that wasn't released when the Power Stone went off and blew up his little shop, I don't know. But for all intents and purposes, it's still with the Collector somewhere. Whether it's actually in his place or whether he's moved it to somewhere else. Like, because you'd expect it to be in his place, but I mean, when the Power Stone went off, I mean, and everything was kind of like blew up. If the ether was in there somewhere, you'd imagine it'd be released, but apparently not. So whether it's actually in his shop or it's like in one of his other subsidiaries, then that's up for debate.
Because if Doctor Strange goes to Asgard, then potentially that's two of them in the same place at the same time. Is that too good of an opportunity for Thanos to pass up?
See now, that that's an interesting thing, because it is that kind of what he's going for. Is he kind of trying, as opposed to like what would work for the benefit of him? Going round on the sly, picking them up. Is he that kind of person, or is he big and brash, where he's kind of going to get all of them to kind of manipulate events to get all of them together, and then just mull a Doctor Strange? But is he going to be able to stand up? Because okay, he's got the Infinity Gauntlet, but what other kind of power is he going to be able to stand up to a Doctor Strange with the Time Gem, Thor, Hulk? Because Hulk's apparently going to be in Ragnarok as well. Is
That's
he
a good point.
is he going to be able to go one on one with them?
Oh no, probably not. I mean, he's very powerful.
Yeah,
I could see him maybe fighting Hulk, but with Thor and with Doctor Strange, not at the same time. No.
that's what I mean. So
So yes, maybe he is manipulating events. Maybe that is why he gave it to Loki. Maybe he wants all the Infinity Stones on Earth, so he can pop down there when they're all together, and boom.
see, if you did that, you'd just like, because these Infinity Gems, they can't really be destroyed, can they? So I mean,
Well,
technically,
they wouldn't be called Infinity, would they?
yeah. So I mean, you could just get them all on Earth, and then just blow up Earth, and then just kind of fly through the debris and just pick up the stones, because there's not much that'd actually be able to survive that.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
are they all going to be on Earth though? You got
Uh,
to get them there first, don't you?
I think I think that would be the basis for the Infinity War movie, because you want them all in one place, and then Thanos going to get them. You know what I mean? Or Thanos at least in the possession of one or two before he goes to get them. Because I mean, if he gets them all, what's the point of him going to Earth? He's already got the stones. I mean, you'd imagine he'd have bigger fish to fry than to just go after Earth with the stones. I mean, come on, what's the point? Unless one of them pisses him off to the point where he's like, I've got all these stones, but he doesn't even need to go to Earth. He can just like vaporize it. So I think,
Also, the kind of the detour again. Red Skull. Wouldn't he be dead by now?
um, well, that would be a bit of a cop out, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I guess, but I
If
suppose they're
like,
gonna have to figure out a way to
because
explain
they
it.
might as well have just vaporized him. They wouldn't have been so obvious in teleporting him. But I mean, you say, wouldn't he be dead now? Like, he's got the super soldier serum in he, hasn't he? So I don't know. What if he like got blasted off to like the frost giant's place, and like, I know this is a bit batty, but what
I
if
was
he
gonna say he
got,
fell into ice.
yeah, fell into ice? Or what if he gets zapped into space and gets turned into ice? You know what
Oh,
I mean? While he's in
it's a
space.
concept thing. Yeah, there's some goofy story they'll have to explain it.
I think
Why
the
not?
I think the best use for him would to be as a consultant, because you can imagine like Thanos riding into Earth to get the Tesseract or whatever, and have Red Skull like with him. You know what I mean? Because that would be good. Because while Thanos is kind of going up against, like, I don't know, the Hulk or Thor, you can have Red Skull slapping up Captain America. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
you got to imagine Red Skull would probably stab him in the back anyway.
yeah, I mean, you'd have Thanos, Red Skull, Loki going up against the people of Earth, you know what I mean? Because if they've got stones, it kind of even the odds, wouldn't it, for Thanos to roll in there with like a couple henchmen, and it'd make it good anyway. Do you
That's
really
the
want
point. That's the point on Loki though. Whose side do you think Loki would really be on?
his own?
Yeah, right. Because they want to have their cake and eat it too with Loki.
Yeah,
I know some people are of the opinion that Loki will die in Thor Ragnarok, but A, he's very popular, so I don't think they'd do it. And B, that if they do that again, it's like getting to the thing with Magneto where he's always nearly joins the X-Men, but then he flies off on
changes his
his
mind.
own.
Yeah, he flies
They
off on
bought,
his own, then he ends up going full villain again, and then it
yeah,
takes the rest of the film to get him to
right,
a point where he's going to join.
which
I,
we see every time. Loki died in the first four and the second four. Do you
yeah,
really want to do it again in the third one?
that's a fair point. I think if they're gonna go along the lines of Thor backstabbing, not Thor, Loki backstabbing, I think you'd have it where like he's teaming up with Thanos. Thanos is getting the stones, and then Loki tries to stab him in the back to get the stones for himself, and like Thanos just makes an example of him, just kills him in front
Maybe
of
yeah.
like people. I think that would be pretty decent, wouldn't it? For
I bet
Thanos
Loki.
to just turn around and vaporize them and be like,
Yeah,
"That's
but
what you get."
you get you're gonna upset a lot of fangirls on that one though, and
Yeah.
fanboys, I suppose. I bet Loki's gonna be like the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor, like just give me Australia or something.
I think it's yeah, but it'd be like gimme Asgard. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, but I think if they were to kind of kill Loki, I think it'd be better if like yeah, Thanos just turns around and just you know what I mean? So that's what you get, and then that's gonna like set an example for everyone else, and then obviously that's gonna get Thor even more pissed off, because I figure it's like, oh, why would he be pissed off? Loki scammed him over, but I think Thor's of the mentality where he kind of wants to save Loki, so he'll
Mhm.
like do whatever he needs to do to get that done. So I mean, I think at the end is always going to forgive him for what he does. So yeah, and I figure that pretty much wraps up this Infinity Stone special of Upfold discussion with the Superhero Hub. I've been Sam,
I've been Matt.
and we'll see you in the next episode.